we fixed. Well, see this. This cord needs to be replaced.
Yeah, tap on yours. No, see, it's not like yours. Tap yours. You can hear it thump. Does it do it?
Hers is too. Yeah.
Hers is.
You're live.
All right.
Make sure it works.
Yeah. Hello.
Usually getting older.
Yeah, because there's
Testing.
Yours is loud.
I don't know.
Yeah, yours is going in and out. I don't know. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties. All right. It's 6:05. Let's start the Heritage Fest committee meeting and volunteer meeting. We're going through? Oh, all right. All right. First, open discussion from anybody. This is kind of an informal meeting, just so everybody knows. It's not like the formal like the DDA. So this meeting is a lot of back and forth. So if you hear stuff, ask questions. It's not like we're just up here talking and that's it. So I just texted Wayne, our car leader, and I don't know where he's at. I thought he was going to be coming up here. Have you talked to Wayne at all about any car show updates? No. Autorama ad and Cruiser Media, spring and summer ads have already been submitted, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so we're getting the word out there. 5 cars are already entered, which I'm sure one of those is yours. 6?
6 now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So we had, for those that are new, we had 400 plus cars last year for the car show, and it's grown. I think when we started this, it was about 85, 90, and it's grown every year after that. So it's been good. Unfortunately, Wayne's not here. Wayne is the one that's actually leading our car show, so I don't really have any updates if he's not here. We have car show flyers. We created its own Facebook page, so there's a lot more tracking and following with it. So we'll have to get an update from him. Entertainment, Family Tradition Band is opening Friday. Waylon Hanlon is now approved to open for them, correct? Do I have to sign a contract or did you already sign it?
do once she gets it to me.
Okay. All right.
She has us on the books.
Okay. Waylon is a younger kid. He's 22 now. He was at Mikey's a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, I think. Was that a month ago? Huge draw. Did a great job. Sunset Boulevard is approved for Saturday. That contract I signed. EQS production, that is been signed. That's done as well.
Is that the one we used last year?
Cornhole tournament, the who, what, where, when. Was that again a conversation with Eric?
That's a conversation with Lions or whoever else may want to run it.
Here's a volunteer me.
That's
how it works.
I know. Well, he talked about it before, so you guys are open to doing it. There was a conflict last year. Who was the gentleman that did it?
I have
on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, it came down at the last minute. It was nice. I mean, he seemed like a good dude. I mean, might even loop him in to help or back up, but whatever. But if you guys want to run it for some sort of a benefit or fundraiser, we're definitely open to having that. Let's see here. Do you have any questions about the cornhole or anything? We have the cornhole boards and bags, and we have a total of 12. So to make 6 sets.
Where would it be located? How's the
so
you don't know yet.
So we're still working through all that, right? I mean, we've earmarked it, right? Ideally, what we're thinking for this year, which was the plan for last year, is keeping it central. So last year we had everything down by the other buildings.
Yeah.
This year we're trying to keep it downtown, so that way we can use that tent. No, it's not a beer tent anymore; it's an entertainment tent.
Okay.
Because what we'd like to have during the day is the cornhole tournament kind of going on. We can have a space to do all of our awards and raffles and everything out of there.
Right.
Before we had a tent that had to get moved around all over the place.
Yeah.
A couple times. We had to take it down. That was a nightmare. So the thought was to use that way, in case by some reason we get inclement weather, people can now be underneath it. They can take their food under there. If you remember were you around for when we did the awards for the cars? So when we did that,
I was downtown, but I wasn't.
yeah, everybody kind of gathers around. They're on top of everybody. So we thought with this, we would be utilizing the stage then,
Yeah.
have a little bit more of a presence, and that way people are on top of it. If they want to sit there and eat and have a drink, they definitely can. So that's the goal with it, right? So part of that is, and we talked about placement on there, but then there was another idea that was brought up recently, and I don't know where we're even with that. That person's lot, I don't even know if it's available. The one at the last meeting, the unofficial meeting. Yeah, so I don't know if that's
May be
available. Right. So right now, the location that we're looking at is right on East St. Clair and Bristol, closer towards Van Dyke. So what we have down there is a large power main, and we need a lot of power
Yeah.
for it. So we already have the power and everything all set up for handling what they need. The logistics, we got to work through that is that one house that's there and see if she'd be okay not having issues, which I think should be fine because, you know, we do let her use the parking lot and a few other things without causing any issues. So that's where we're designing it for as of right now. Yeah. And we're working through, like, the next one is the beer part of it, working through how that's going to work with the bar owners and potentially with you guys helping in some regard. What? Nothing.
It's a little more complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we have to do is get, we got to get the final done with the social district, right? Once that's done, then we got to look at some other things. I did talk to Craig. I talked to Jim because these meetings are tough for them to get to. I said, well, why don't we have one with all you guys together? And Craig said, hey, maybe, you know, Jim runs it this year. I run it next year. Victor's running it this year. And they're open to it. They just have to work through who's doing what and when and kind of commit to that schedule so nobody gets left off.
Correct.
Are Jim is thinking about between Jim and Craig and Victor's?
Only one, the problem is originally we were talking about like all of them doing it together or two of them. It has to fall under one bar owner's
Correct.
liability insurance, and no other bar owner wants to
Take the liability.
take
for
the
that.
liability.
But they're
if-
willing to?
If there's one,
One.
but if there's multiple people splitting the profits, they don't want to put the liability on one person.
So then how do we that play out? We would hire volunteers or the Lions Club to sell the beer on there and they're not going to do it for free. They're going to want something for that.
Well, that's what we got to work out with them. So let's say it's one bar and it's Jim and he's fronting the bill. All the bar owners' concerns are just having staff to do it, right? So-
But much like we've talked about other places do it, groups could come in and Jim could then give them a donation for their help.
Could, yeah.
Would that work with the liquor licensing?
Yeah, I don't think
Yes.
that matters to that point because it's
Yeah.
going to be under who buys it and whose liability.
Right.
He would be willing to give them, because then we're kind of running into like us having to try to create a potentially like come up with additional monies outside of the sale of the beer to give to whoever's selling it or try to make money for them because
Well, and that's where it turns
That's kind of
into,
gonna be onto
it's
Jim.
their problem. We will no longer run that,
Right.
kind of like we didn't before with the Lions. They basically
Right.
ran it. We didn't, you know.
Right.
Right.
so-
Yeah, so we're staying out of that. We'll still, you know, obviously get sponsors and fundraise for the tent and everything like that to help offset some of those costs. But really, the alcohol will be left up. Whoever is the sponsoring bar would then work through their plan of who they want to use, how that all would work out.
Okay.
But we really can't get anywhere until the social district is final, which you've dotted your i's, crossed all the t's so far with Dale and the Liquor Control Commission for all the businesses. So
Yeah,
we're
we've
just,
talked to liquor control the last 2 days on the phone too, so
Yeah.
everything should be.
so
It's gonna be then.
it should be. I mean, it should hopefully be done here in the next month. So if not,
We
we're gonna have to go to a plan B.
The village should be approved before the end of the month.
So I'm got a question about in the past, the Beer County has with that Lions Club, nonprofit, and that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's a process for getting the license,
Mhm.
special license for that. So how is this now going to be different? process of getting a license to set up the beer tent, specifically location.
So that would fall, anything within the social district, we could put the beer tent at that point in time. So in the licenses for that would fall in that area under a special event.
And that would be a separate license that the liquor control commission would approve.
That would just be through, once we have social district finalized, which we're at that point now, all they have to do is bring it back from the state. Then really, that's all they have to do is,
The bar owners would have to apply for a social district license.
For that day.
Add the social district onto their existing license.
right,
And then whatever bar owner is running it has to apply for a sale off the premises.
correct. So once they get it back from the state of Michigan and the social district is finalized through the village, which it's there, it's already been through the process, it just has to come back. Each of the bars will then apply for a social district license on top of their current licenses. Then for that day, it would just be an off-sale premise license. Hmm.
Part of the social district license is so that they can walk around with it. The special events would be that they can walk across the street, like when we're shutting down Van Dyke.
Hmm.
When we get that permit from the state, they'll be able to cross
Correct.
Van Dyke.
My question that is, there was no discussion about the beer tent, especially social district. That's what it was. So I'm trying to figure out how that can be introduced. But that would be part of the original law. So I figured that you have a separate special license process. Why would that, the one that was followed in the past, not be the same process?
So that would be for a nonprofit license. So that's a different one, right? So the whole thing with the social district, the whole thing for the DDA is for benefit of the DDA district. Lions Club isn't in the district, right? So we fundraise for the tent and bring everything up. We're here to provide those funds back to the district, not necessarily be the fundraising arm for the Lions Club, which in the past that has occurred, right? So if we're raising $17,000 to put on a beer tent, we can't have one place being the lion's share owner of the funds, right? In the past, that has, as we have learned, that was a no-no that occurred in the years past. So we've had to correct that. So now, as far as for a beer tent, we ran all this past our attorneys. That's just an off-sale premise license, and that's perfectly okay.
Let me just make a comment.
Yeah.
I'm here to represent as a member of the church. And it's always been a position of the church to maintain not just in the area, no alcohol, due to the individuals that we service as part of our mission. We do, there are, I guess I'm asking, don't forget about this, a segment of the population that are struggling with alcohol. And they do come to our church. And so we would like to provide as large a, let's say, a safe zone for those more vulnerable individuals. And so it's always been, as I, in the past, the position of the church to try to have the beer tent as distant away from the church as possible. And that was the benefit, I guess, to the church. They had was always kind of worked out in the past. I wasn't directly involved with that myself, but that's kind of the history. And I just want to let you know why we were kind of in that position too. We're trying to make a family, what we consider a more family-friendly, safe environment for those who are struggling with alcoholism. And that's kind of the reason behind, we would like to see the beer tent farther away from the church. In your planning of how this layout may work, just ask that you consider that.
So the rule to that is, which we've always went by in the past, is more than 500 feet. Okay. That adds a lot of complexity to be more than 500 feet away from a church. Okay. Last year, we actually got permission from you guys to actually have it where we were going to put it this year. Angela worked with your church to get that done. The last day
We thought that
we had the agreement of it, right?
nothing was signed, but
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
The permit that Eric needed signed was not signed. But
Yeah.
we had verbal consent and then we did
Yeah.
not.
We did not. So we ended up moving that out of respect 500 feet away, right? So, and that was done on the very last day. Cost us a lot of time and money to make those changes. We had to get a new generator for the event. But now that we have the social district, we have the rights to put it anywhere within that social district boundaries, right? Now, yeah.
Take your word for
Yeah.
that. I just wanted to let you know why we would like to see the distance. We don't, if it's on East St. Clair.
So it's actually going to go right next to where Roots is, which serves alcohol, next to Victor's that serves alcohol, next to Mikey's that serves alcohol. It's right, but they are the business that will be running. One of those businesses will be running that beer tent and making a profit from that now. So that's the whole switch with social district.
Why do you bother with the beer tent? Why can't they just serve from within the restaurant? The
So
district area go out into what?
So it all goes to the fact of controlling how many people are in the tent when it comes to the band, right? So we have an area capacity, I think it's like 600, right? So we have 600 capacity, right? We can't just let everybody in and out of there. So we have to control how many people are actually coming in and out of that tent. And if there is alcohol at that time frame, they got to be over the age of 21. So that's where Lions gets involved, or whatever charity we're using. We'll be checking IDs and everything that's there. So it's still fenced off. I mean, that's not changing. I mean, we're still going to have safeguards in place. And I get there are people out there with those struggles, but we're trying to design this for the greater of the whole community. So
Yeah, and I also think that if you have, they're selling them inside the businesses and people are going out to see the entertainment at night, you're opening up the possibility that they're just handing off this drink to an underage person that's not supposed to be drinking, because there's nobody really looking over these people who are drinking. When we have somebody in the beer tent, there's at least somewhat of a safeguard to try to prevent underage drinking or anybody else drinking on the street. So
I was just confused because you were saying East St. Clair and Bristol, and that's not what you mean. You mean down by Main Street?
it'd be close. As I said, it'd be closer to Van Dyke. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
East St. Clair and Bristol is our.
oh, we're not
Yeah.
going to do it right in front of your church.
No, no,
like,
no.
yeah,
No.
on the other side.
No,
No.
it would be it'd be between Bristol and Van Dyke. So essentially the power supply is right at the driveway going into the pocket park. So that would basically be the edge, because that's the power supply we need to use. So a lot of it all comes down to what power we're using as well. So that's where we have a power drop. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not going right at that corner. It's going, yeah, no. So it's, yeah, I said it's closer to Van Dyke with what's there. So sorry for the confusion. And for you guys, we left the parking lot out of the social district. So your parking lot is not included in the social district at all. So that's not a spot where people can even take alcohol into there, just so you're aware.
We have two AA groups and we have children's programs after school and stuff. So
Yeah.
I know I've heard it in previous meetings, I guess, about all the signing requirements and such.
Hmm.
That seemed to be talking about this commons area, which is basically either along the street, sidewalk, or popular common area.
Yeah, you could talk more to that.
So if I hear you saying is that if people can take drinks outside of that into any area, so-called social district area, what is controlling people? You're telling them, here's the new limit, right? You got a limit of common area, and then you got the social district lines. So, you know, what's gonna keep people from walking across the street, especially if the beer team is there, right into our parking lot, for instance?
The beer tent is going to be fenced in, is correct still?
Yeah.
So at least there's that area.
Yeah. And I was gonna say,
Police.
Yeah,
there won't be alcohol leaving the beer tent. So the whole reason for having a beer tent is you can't take alcohol out of that, right?
That's what I was gonna say, even in the social
Yeah.
district, if you have the beer tent, you can't leave.
Correct.
Walk around with the beer, out of the beer.
Correct. So that's still, like I was saying before, it's fenced, it's still controlled.
But that does, you're not stopping the restaurants from serving.
That's going to be an issue that will be every day that the social district has been passed the hours that
Yeah.
was approved by village council. So the only thing that just like any normal day, it's going to be the police doing their job and policing the streets, making sure that people aren't crossing those boundaries. There's going to be signage on each corner. That's required by law. I don't know if there's any additional things that we're working on in terms of signage, but if you would like to propose something, or if you have some suggestions around your church area that you would like for us to put at that corner, we're definitely open to those suggestions.
Yeah, and any of the businesses are going to have kind of a rules of the road. And generally the walking around crossing streets can only occur when we have a street shut down. So even during Heritage Fest, they can only walk across Van Dyke during the hours we have it shut down. Once the car show's over at 5, the only road that potentially would be closed, which would be East St. Clair. That's it. So they really can't walk technically anywhere else throughout the town at that point in time. Yeah, because we can't have, no matter what, you can't cross roads unless the roads are closed. Yeah. I mean, ideally, we want to work together because you guys do the pancake breakfast and you do the lunch, right? Which is,
we didn't do the lunch last year, we just did
Yeah.
pancake breakfast because they said we were cutting in the other restaurants wanted more business. We didn't give away any hamburgers.
who said they were?
We didn't say
We didn't
that.
say that.
Our board didn't say that.
Our board did not say that.
No.
I don't know where,
Well,
reported from where?
So we didn't do it.
Yeah, yeah. No, so
I was out of town.
yeah, so no. I mean, if you remember Wayne, he was not here tonight. He's the one, the guy he got you guys popped like a couple years ago to use as a fundraiser that one day, right? From Pepsi.
Oh, yeah, I got the Pepsi.
Yeah,
I
we got
donated
cases
that,
and
yeah.
cases and cases of Pepsi. No, obviously we want to include the whole community, right? So no, I mean, you guys are free to do whatever. And that's the whole point. I mean, the biggest revenue generator, well, actually now the car show has grown. It used to be, so this event used to be a loser every year. We've only started to make back the money in the last 2 years. Everything else we've run at a loss, right? The beverage tent has been the biggest revenue generator out there, right? And that's why before were coming in. I mean, we're having 600 people coming tonight for a beverage tent when we started with only 80 cars, right? So now during the day, we've got 400 cars. This year, we're forecasting 500 cars. Minimally, figure 2 to 3 people coming per car plus everybody else. It's going to be a big event. So we want the businesses to sell the lion's share to the point we're not going to have the food trucks like we had in there before. The businesses are committing to have tents out on Van Dyke selling their food. But yeah, if you guys want to do breakfast and your lunch, you're more than welcome to. We've never stopped that. A lot of the car show guys actually liked your guys' lunch. Yeah.
And as
And-
far as the vendor, the food vendor map, if the church is going to offer food, you would be on that map.
Right.
So everybody that attends the festival would know that that's available there.
Right.
So just let us know for sure.
Yeah, the only thing we talked about was not having vendors, and actually we said we didn't want to have vendors in front of your areas to cause issues. So that was the only conversation we had about you guys and serving food. So yeah, if you got questions on that, reach out to us, reach out to Angela. We'll clarify them. But no, you guys are more than welcome to be a part of it. Like I said, we're trying to do a community event for all, and we get that there are people out there with those struggles, but we want to make sure we're doing this for everybody that's in town, right? And again, that's also why, you guys asked for us not to include the parking lot, and we removed that right away. And we have a use agreement for the parking lot, correct? Yeah. I'm just saying, that, right? Yeah. So, and again, we do offset the costs on that between upkeep, maintenance, lighting, fixing stuff, all that stuff. Yeah. Okay.
She does.
Yeah. So, again, we try to have everything be a two-way street, but at the end of it, if we have to stay 500 feet away from you guys, that's a very complex thing. We were at 506 feet away last year. We're not going to have that luxury because that building's going to be under construction very shortly, right?
We weren't, I think the last discussion on it, we weren't holding fast to the 2 to 5 that was the requirement, which the process was saying, hey, if it's within 500, you have to have consent.
Yeah.
Well, we were looking at that, hoping that on the west side in 53, could be West St. Clair, I think it's what we were proposing last year. I'm not even sure where they're something else.
It's probably the old movie theater in their parking lot.
Yeah, that's
Between the
what.
law office and the old movie theater,
Yeah.
we had to use the parking lot.
Yeah, but the original map was right where we had it this year, where we're trying to put it this year. That's where the original design was. And again, we're doing it because we wanted to keep it closer to the businesses, and B, that power drop that's there, that's huge.
And parking.
And parking.
Anyway, maybe the best from your perspective, but from ours, I think the church still would much prefer to see it on the west side.
Okay. We're still planning through it. So right now, we're still in final stages with, once we get the social district approval back, then we just have to go through a couple processes, and we're still going to be discussing it. So, but yeah. Yeah.
We
Well-
appreciate you being here.
We appreciate you being here, right? And glad we cleared the air about the lunch thing.
Another separate, related, nothing to do with the location here, Tim, was the fire chief was concerned last year because he didn't have the access that he would need for emergency. So definitely follow up with the fire chief about that, make sure you have lanes open.
Chief Smith and I are best
Yeah.
buddies right now, so
So,
he is fully.
He just mentioned,
Fully in the loop, yeah.
talking with him one day that he kind of found out late in the process, right? So
Of
it's not a good
the
thing,
event?
so.
Not of the event, but remember when we started parking cars in the middle and.
Yeah. And we pulled that out.
Yeah.
So,
So just,
Yeah.
I heard that too, so it's early in the process.
Yeah, some of our parking people got a little overzealous, and then we did pull that out. We did change that, so we did not have cars going up the middle.
Thank you for the reminder, though. We don't always think about things like fire lanes.
Well, yeah, we had that discussion. Well, the hard part is once we pulled the cars out the middle, that's when that lady in the SUV kind of rolled on through and almost ran everybody over. So,
I just had an idea. Can we have DPW park trucks at each end?
Yeah.
I already
A
have
fire
that.
truck?
It's not, yes, we're
Awesome.
already doing that.
yeah.
I just thought about that.
So, and again, with some issues we had last year with police presence, we are already working on mounted sheriff, other police forces, APD. I mean, there's going to be more there because it's grown to that scale. Again, last year we forecasted, I think 300 and some cars and it been 400. So this year we're shooting high at 500. So I think it's going to be big.
Like, keep moving. We have a couple more things to get over.
Oh, yeah.
Half hour.
Registration.
We have to figure out where we're doing the rest of these. I mean, the car stuff, we have to figure out where we're doing registration, where we're doing lineup, how we're getting people in and parked, but I don't know how much we can do of that without Wayne here.
Right. And I told Wayne, I think what might be best is all of us to meet in a separate meeting just to hash that out.
Yeah. An overview map
Correct.
and start marking it up because registration was a nightmare last year.
Right. And that's what we don't want. So we got to work through the logistics and he understands the thought process of doing it off site
Offsite.
and doing it, but it's just a matter of making sure how that flows into everything and the timing. So
Do we want to start to go to 2 meetings a month?
we can, or we could just have a side meeting on that
Well, we did when did we start doing that last year? 2 meetings.
a month.
I think
Yeah.
we started in June.
June.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
fine
next
with
is May.
starting in May, but if during the day meetings work better for Wayne, we can
Right.
do that.
So
And
let's get this first
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
booked with Wayne when we know he can come, and then we
Yeah.
can decide what we want to do going forward. That we can make sure he's a part of it, because he is the biggest part of it.
Correct.
And
So,
once we figure out lineup and parking and registration, everything else kind of follows that, like where we're
Correct.
gonna put vendors, where we're gonna put.
Yeah.
Everything else. So
Right.
The vendors, are we going to increase that to 50?
that's what I was gonna, ask about vendor costs.
Did you know that the Romeo Peach Fest charges $250 for
What?
vendors?
What?
And they don't have trouble. That's what I said.
mhm.
Wow.
So I don't think $50 is unreasonable.
No, I don't
So
either.
we're gonna do 50 and 100 then?
Yeah.
I personally, I think if you up it a little bit more, you're going to get a little bit more quality out of the vendors.
Or
I think
50 and like
Agreed.
75.
And we
or
don't need
something, I don't
more
know.
vendors, not to be rude, but
But we need
We
to
had
make
a lot.
up for the space that we're letting them
Mhm.
use, that we're taking away from what
The
we
car
would be
show.
getting from the cars and the car show.
also didn't we talk about increasing the price on the car show?
It is increased.
It is?
It was.
Oh, it
15
is.
and
You're
50.
right. Thank you. I
Yeah,
totally
It
forgot.
is.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay.
And we're not doing food trucks this year, is that correct? Because every food truck we had last year has already reached out to me, asking if they can come back.
Unless you hear different from the businesses, but everybody I've
we-
talked to is, I mean,
That's my question.
yeah,
Did
Mar-
they say they can support it?
double check one last time with them, but Maria
Well, can
said they're
we-
ready
Can
for it.
we schedule a meeting with all of them, please?
Mhm.
Even if it's during the day, that's fine. I'll make sure I at least can be there. I know Andy will make sure he can.
Right.
I know you probably can't, but Melissa might be able to sit down with them and make sure that, like, if we're not booking food trucks, then
I haven't talked to Victor's, but I've talked to Maria's, I've talked to Mikey's, and I've talked to Craig, and they all said, yeah, we want to do it.
and we need to hammer out
Mikey's
the
and Maria's
beer tent.
want to do outside stuff too,
Correct.
like Roots did last year.
Correct.
Right?
So, but yeah, get a meeting with all of them during the day, try to line that up, and whoever can make it, let's talk through it. Okay. I was hoping to have the social district done so we could kind of hammer that out
I
at the
know.
same time, but let's talk food right now.
But,
I think we talked about though, if we did have a food vendor, it would be just the carnival food. Because
so that isn't served, like.
Like Kona or the ice cream girl.
Correct.
About the Polish woman.
That was your last meeting?
right in town, yeah.
I would get the feel from them on
Yeah,
it.
The restaurant.
Let's talk to
Right.
the restaurants.
I think for sure, like if we had a dessert one, because there's really nothing competing with that rate in that area, unless Charlie Brown's has the mobile option, we could ask them, but I don't believe so.
And Bluebird has their dessert, like, whatever too.
I want a firm commitment from them if they're going to be a part of it. I'm
Same.
not gonna turn
Ah.
down someone else if they're not gonna show up again, not to
Correct.
be rude, and I love them, but
I think that Happy Camper.
She
one
was very
did good
nice.
Last
Yeah,
year. I didn't
she did
go to
good.
her, but-
she did, Jeep and Cruise nights. She
Yeah.
was super
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, whoever we
That
get,
is not heritage related, but are we doing any food trucks? We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. that's another one. I think, again, for those nights, because we're moving that to that parking lot, we need to talk to the businesses on
About
that.
me having specials.
Or
Yeah.
just dessert maybe, but yeah, let's talk to them again.
So
on that.
are they gonna stay open that late though? I mean, it's gonna be, what
They're
time?
open that late.
Maria's is gonna close at a certain point on Saturday. They're not gonna stay open like
I
for
think
late night.
last year they did
They
stay
did stay
open
open.
with their hamburgers and hot dogs until
Correct.
the car show ended.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what about like
Dinner.
from until like 10, 11 at night?
So that's what we're gonna have to get from them, what they want to do, including Rose's, and find out.
Are the people gonna actually have to go into the businesses, or are they gonna all have like a
Well-
mobile option outside?
Like Roots did last year, that's what Mikey's wants to do, and Maria's had their stuff outside as well, it was just on their back patio, so.
I just know it's more convenient.
It
for
was so
people.
convenient last year,
You know,
yeah.
if walking around, don't actually have to go into the restaurant.
Yeah, especially with the car guys, because they do not want to go.
Correct, no.
far.
No, so the goal is to have all that outside, and at least the majority have already said verbally that that's what they want to do. So, yeah, and back to you guys, just so you know, we do a Jeep and Cruise night every month through the summer. It used to be held in your guys' parking lot. We're moving that to the other parking lot, so we don't infringe on the social district part, because they will be able to have drinks in those parking lots, so it's not gonna be held in yours at all anymore. So other than maybe overflow parking, but the event is gonna be in that other parking lot, just so you know.
We have always, we wanted to support provide that parking space. It's kind of underutilized just for church use. That's why we kind of welcomed, working in agreement with the DDA to share that space, because parking is a premium, especially if you have other activities.
I don't know, we just bought a building. We just bought a building to turn into a parking lot, so trust me, we get it. Yeah, it's almost like, lakefront property around here. All right, vendors, food, vendor booths, so we're up in that to 50 and 100.
Yep, got that.
Beer tent, we still gotta work through the logistics on that.
What's the 100? A double?
Yeah. 20
Um,
by 20?
yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead, sorry.
No.
Move on to sponsorship.
Yeah, I gave you guys the form from last year. I've already started editing it on my computer, but I just need to make sure we're doing the same thing as last year before I.
Didn't we have a couple, oh, sorry. Didn't we have a couple businesses ask about a sponsorship including cars?
They
And
do
I-
include cars. They want them to, one specific business wants it to include a dozen cars instead of 2. So we can,
What do they want?
I don't,
they want
I'm
12 cars
They want 12 cars for entry?
for free.
for free. They sponsor.
What were their sponsorship level last year?
Cold, I
Only 1,500?
And it needs to be very clear this year, unless
That they
someone
can't
else
park
has a
them
way to figure
together.
this out, that there is no premium parking, there's no reserved parking, it's at will. You show up and that's how you park. Like, I'm not arguing
Getting
with
yelled
people
at?
this year, I'm not getting yelled at, we all do this for free. I am not putting up with crap.
Hold on a second. They're paying a gold sponsor level and they're getting 12 cars. Are we taking anything? Are we
No,
like
no, no,
horse?
they're not getting, that's what they want.
That's
That's what they want, what they're asking for.
Yeah.
Is that a deal breaker? Or what's your feel on it?
I don't think it's gonna be. Yeah, I think it might be a deal breaker.
How many do we have any gold sponsors from last year?
I'll tell you in 1 second when I find.
I'm gonna say right off the bat, I'm opposed to this, only because there's people who are donating just as much, or if the same, and we can't just
Well-
start giving
Well, then,
things.
yeah, you have to.
So
I would say, what if, hold on,
Let's
yeah.
increase it, right? So
Right.
the silver sponsor gets you 1 car entry. The gold is 1, so let's make it 5, and the platinum can be 10.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not opposed to that.
yeah, I mean, we could,
Make the platinum 15.
I mean,
And what's the cost difference? How much is it?
1,500.
1,500.
Oh, the difference?
Yeah, you're at, what do we
It's
per
a pretty big
car?
divide.
Yeah, it's a pretty big divide. I'm just wondering if that's the case, maybe, what are we per car, 20 or 25?
20.
We'll do silver 5, gold 10, and platinum 15.
that's a lot of cars, though. What
Yeah,
if
but
we,
they're not-
Yeah.
No, the only person that
It's only
utilized
the 1
this
person.
was
okay, one,
that company.
Mhm.
Oh.
And our CI actually sent me a check for their car entry, and I gave it back to them.
Yeah.
But no one else utilized
I used
that.
my 1 car entry.
Oh,
I mean,
But
Okay.
it wasn't like,
So how about this? What'd you say? Bronze, let's say bronze 2.
bronze has 0 right now.
Ron should, yeah.
Well, what if we, because the other ones are just a friend of, right? So what if we made bronze 2, silver 5, gold 10, platinum 15?
I would hate to see that backfire, just only because there are limited spacing.
Yeah, I mean,
If we have a couple of them because how many, we do get quite,
we had 4 gold sponsors last year, so that's 40 cars if they all use it.
that'd be
Yeah.
80 cars. Oh, I'm
No,
sorry, not
10,
gold.
yeah.
No, yeah, that's platinum. It's 40 cars, that's,
I say 2, 5, and 10.
what, 2 for silver?
2
for
for silver,
silver,
5 and 10.
5
Yeah,
for gold,
yeah.
We could do
10
that.
for platinum.
Mhm. If we want to do like a special package for for their car show, and that be a sponsorship just for the car show, and take it out of this and make it a special thing where we can customize it, I would,
Or, time out, what if we left it as is and gave them discounted registration? Like if you're a platinum sponsor, you get
50% off or something.
$10 per car.
I feel like this would
well, how
help keep
many,
track
but
of.
don't
Right.
you think that you just hand it out to people? Like you could just say, just tell them that you're with me.
Right, and then they're paying $10, so
I'd
that's,
rather just give them
Right.
that
Yeah.
many.
Just
And it's,
include
the registration is due with their sponsorship, like it says on here. That way we have them, it's accounted for.
So 2, 5, 10.
Yeah,
That's my vote.
I mean, at the end of it, it's at this point, it's one person. And we can't just make it for one person. Right? It's gotta be for the good of everything.
And it's the biggest car show on
Correct.
Van Dyke.
Right. So 2, 5, and 10?
The smallest parking lots.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
We're working on it.
Yeah, that's how we can afford more buildings to tear down.
Right?
Yeah, 2, 5, and 10 is fine, still run up.
We're trying to fund a building demolition here, guys.
Yeah.
Can't be giving it all away.
So 2, 5, and 10? Is that the
That's what
consensus?
Are you not volunteering to demo the building? I thought that's what we were doing.
Let's do this. I got friends. Let's see. We got a John Deere. Neighbor's got a Bobcat. Let's do it.
Wrap it in with anger management.
Right?
Got the hammer, let 'em go.
I was like, John will be there.
Yeah.
I would say-
John likes a little demo.
I had a business owner offer me to do it for just the cost of fuel until he found out the buildings were connected. He's like, nope, I'm out.
Oh,
He's like, I'm out. I'm not gonna be responsible for knocking down somebody else's place.
Right. I get that.
So,
Oh, yeah, I guess
Okay.
we probably shouldn't be responsible for that either.
right.
Any other changes? But if we acquired the other building, would they then do it for free? Oh.
Probably, yes.
I
Yeah.
need to work on that harder. Okay. Any other changes to sponsorship levels, anything that had been suggested? I didn't hit sponsorships, so did anyone want anything
No.
other than that?
I think we've honed those in pretty good over the last couple of years. I think.
I like how we added the banners last year. I thought that was super nice. I loved mine.
Yeah.
Still have it. Gonna hang it one of these days, I swear. I'm good with that.
All right. 5K. Underneath the 5K, it's a 10K and a fun run.
And the fun run.
Yep, so we're adding the 10K in the fun run like the people asked for. I did email Bob earlier this week. I have not heard back yet, but he does sometimes take a couple days to reply. So,
Can I give you his phone number too? I'll make sure you get it.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
probably have it. But so yeah, I think he just said to like get a hold of him before summer. So Angela and I, something was said about it the other day. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to email him right now before I forget. So have an email out to him and we'll get working on that.
I would just suggest that this year you can do like a multiple year like agreement with him, and we can say that it's going to be on this day like for a couple of years, so that he already has it booked.
I think after last year that we did that, yes.
Okay.
And yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're all on the same page. I'm pretty for sure with that. He's good with it. That's all.
All right.
Just some new swag for this year, Angela, for my race.
Yeah.
Watch, we won't do a hat this year and it won't be 70 degrees again.
I know, right?
Raffle amount item. There's still some complexity with that. We
Did you
talked
guys,
about.
yeah, I wasn't here for the
No.
last.
Nobody was here.
2 of us.
I thought it was on our board agenda though.
No,
No?
because
Oh.
that falls underneath the guys of this. We already have money set aside for it.
Okay.
So we only got a few minutes left. I mean, we can table it. We could talk in a different meeting. So the big question is, do we do another golf cart or do we do a cheaper side by side?
I thought we
For
were
the
gonna
raffle.
do look at.
Side by side,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, but then nobody was here last time to discuss it.
And
We
you
looked
said
at,
stay under
10.
10,
yeah.
15.
No, I thought we did.
So staying under 10 is difficult in a side by side unless we're getting a super deal. We could probably get it under about 12.5.
Yeah.
And that was my suggestion because I was not here. The most, well, if we're still gonna do 1,000 tickets at $20 a ticket, total max is 20,000.
Right,
So how much of that do we want to not keep?
correct.
I don't think we should spend more than half of it, but that's my personal
Oh,
opinion.
yeah, we were talking about doing that with,
Yeah, the hard part to get a side by side for that kind of money is gonna be, we're
And
gonna
I
have, we're gonna
don't-
have to be over 10.
I don't want to raffle off junk, so.
All right, why don't I will get
Okay.
some firm prices for the ones that I shared in that one, I don't remember where I shared it. But let me see if,
I think you just text me some things. I don't know
Yeah.
if.
let me see what I can whittle
Get it
down on
around.
that. Let's see, I'll get some firm prices and we'll send that out. All right. Committee chairs, we don't need to go over that.
I think we need to throw Ashlyn on something there.
Yes,
I was just thinking.
To get
she's
initiated.
not here, so pick something.
I know.
That's what happens when you're not here, right?
How should we do the cornhole?
Oh, she's here.
Oh, no.
All right. You're getting volunteered to a committee meeting. For Heritage Fest.
Subcommittee.
Do you want to be on the car show with your kids?
I'm so unspotless.
No.
What committee do you want?
Your options are vendors or volunteers. Everything else has 2 people.
Or 5K.
What about
Or the
5K?
5K.
I'm gonna be.
I don't
on
really-
5K with you though.
What are the volunteers?
You
Grab
should do
your
the
seat.
volunteers. You'll be good
Yeah,
at that.
so volunteer coordinator working with all of our,
Oh, yeah, I'll be
Try to recruit them.
try to recruit.
Oh,
And
she'll
you
be
could
great
try
at
to
that.
recruit.
I have like 3 volunteers already.
All right.
All right, Ashley.
So last year, you remember we did a volunteer dinner?
I didn't go to that, but yeah, I
Okay,
do.
yeah, so we'll do a volunteer dinner before, we did it before?
Yeah,
can
we
do
had
it.
like a get together.
Yeah,
I remember it was at the bowling alley.
and then we did a thank you after.
Ashley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no,
No, she
one's-
doesn't.
well, no, she's right, one's
That's
Krista, one's Ashley.
There's just an extra chair there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, all right, so she's on volunteer.
I added her.
I can't
The-
mentor her from
You
here.
wanna?
Make her the primary on volunteer.
Too late.
Oh.
First.
Wait, I want to be the one in charge. Not Andy.
And Krista's
Okay,
name,
Ashlyn is
So-
the chair.
Oh, yeah.
Ashlyn is the chair and Andy is the co-chair.
Krista's
Sweet.
name is not on here either.
Krista, what
But
would you
didn't
like to
you,
What do you want me to do?
didn't you do vendors with Trisha last year?
You're doing.
You did vendors, right? You
Yeah.
wanna do
That
vendors
day,
again?
I think
we
your
worked
name was
together
just
that
missed.
day.
Yeah, we're.
You wanna
we'll put
do
Jen on.
vendors?
Yeah, that's what she's doing. She did it last year.
I'm kind of confused because I just walked in.
We're
So
still
what
talking about
happens-
Heritage Fest.
Right.
You
You
thought
know
you
what I
were
gotta do and when I gotta be
Yep.
there.
You thought
I
you were
got
getting
you.
here early, but you got here late.
You
Just
wanna
saying.
adjourn and I can turn this off?
Yeah,
So we
we're
can
gonna,
take 2 seconds?
Yes.
6:55, we're gonna adjourn the meeting.